I'm Jeff Hunt. He's Bill Thorpe. It's Friday.
Deep breath, keep breathing. We made it. So close.
8 a.m. Mile High City on this Friday, December 5th, 2025. Good morning, Denver, Colorado. You've tuned in to the Jeff and Bill Show. News Talk 710 KNUS. I'm your co-host, Jeff Hunt, along with Bill Thorpe, bringing you the freshest insights, hottest takes from the right, left, and center. You know that nice gas heater, fireplace, and furnace you have in your house? Maybe it's heating your water heater.
Yeah.
Well, that natural gas may be heading out of here as the Public Utilities Commission seeks to totally get rid of natural gas in Colorado by 2050. What? This is wild. And Jarvis Caldwell and the House Republicans down there, their newsletter just said, what the hell is going on here? PUC finalizes plan to push natural gas out of Colorado home heating to hit 100% decarbonization. The transition needs to take place by 2050. To join us and give us insight on this, she's running for governor. State Senator Barb Kirkmeyer will be joining us in a second. Now it's time for the news.
Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, news and comment.
Hey, good morning. TGIF 25 and cloudy in Denver. Expecting a high of 41 today. News sponsored by Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning at 303-777-1234 to learn more about special savings opportunities on Lennox equipment. Our top story.
She's a sweetheart. Super kind, super sweet, always driven, super family oriented, loves her friends and family, spends a lot of time with them.
That's a friend of 20-year-old Kaylee Russell. Russell vanished Sunday near the Loveland-Johnstown Park and Ride and has been found dead. Search crews located an overturned vehicle in a waterway north of Timnath Reservoir that matched the description of her car, though investigators have not released details about the cause of death. Friend of the show, Chris Murray, First and 14th Law, on with Jeff and Billy last hour. A victory, a settlement involving boys and men and girls and women's sports in Colorado. And the Colorado High School Activities Association, the governing body of high school sports in Colorado, they're handing over decision-making to allow it or not to allow it, the men in women's sports, to the districts.
CHASA has agreed to sort of get out of the middle of this and say, you know what, if schools want to adopt policies that protect girls by requiring participation in sports on the basis of biological sex, we're not going to penalize them if they adopt those policies.
And Jeff, I was going in and out, so what did you say to this? Oh, Jeff is not? Okay, good. Well, Billy, what do you think real quickly?
About which?
About your subject that you had last hour. I'm sorry.
Yeah, oh, sorry. No, it's, I'm cutting the last hour.
Sorry about that, because I was going in and out.
Yeah, it's okay. No, yeah, you were cutting in and out. The thing for me is that I think that CHASA is right to walk away from this, and I don't think it's a fight that Phil Weiser should take up. I think that there are some biological differences between men and women at birth, and I am not in favor of trans athletes in any women's sport that is physical. If it's chess club, if it's darts, stuff like that, yes. I see no problem going back and forth. But when it comes down to the physicality, yes, I think there should be a delineation. And part of it stems from the fact of my age, that I grew up in an era where there weren't women's sports. And schools denied it. And I saw the fight. And I had friends that desperately wanted to play those sports. So I'm not about to restrict their ability to do that. Plus, I played co-ed sports, a lot of them. And so I have direct experience with the difference in the biological differences in the two.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, no, it wouldn't. But co-ed sports, things like that.
If a girl wants to play in a boys' sport, hey, that's fine. I mean, I don't have a problem with that. But the other way around, it's unfair. That's the way I look at it.
I agree.
Yep. So, yeah, Jeff, you were away for a second. I just wanted, because I was going in and out, I heard some of your arguments, but what did you feel about the settlement?
Well, it's a good, important first step, but Phil Weiser will fight this. He'll play no electoral consequence because, and I'm having these debates on the text messages now because people are going, but isn't tolerance a Christian value? Yes, kindness is a fruit of the Spirit. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control. But libs equate kindness and tolerance together. So if you're not a tolerant person, you're not a kind person. But the Bible doesn't at all allow us to tolerate sin at all. It needs to be confronted. It needs to be directly confronted. And so liberals will go, well, you're not being a kind person because you're not being a tolerant person. But there's no requirement to be tolerant in the Bible at all.
And, sports were really invented by Christians, by the YMCA for the most part. And fairness and safety is important in sports.
Exactly.
And I think that's just common sense.
But
when
Blake,
you look at
where are the moms? Like, this is what gets me frustrated is like, we asked the Douglas County newly elected school board prior to their election, well, what are you going to do about men and women's sports? Well, I just don't think it's the right use of county resources to go sue this. Really? Really? Like, what are you doing so important as a school board? You can't protect the girls in your district competing in sports. And then the women of Douglas County voted in that school board.
Yeah, that's
so they don't care about this. Give me a break. You don't care that much.
They may not be walking it through to reality.
Exactly.
Maybe they don't think it's necessarily the biggest issue on the table right
True.
now.
I agree with that.
That's it.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
That's why I say that Phil Weiser's probably making a mistake by fighting this. Because those Douglas County moms, they probably asked their kids or had experience and looked around and said, but hang on a second, let me finish this. They looked around and said, I don't see a heck of a lot of trans athletes in our system. I don't see our sports teams going up against teams that have a lot of trans athletes or even any. And so the idea of them saying, this is so important, you've got to fight this right now when they don't see it reflected in their own lives, that's a disconnect. That's why I think it's dangerous for Phil Weiser to fight this.
I see it on the other side because he could fight and lose this and they'll go, well, all right, it's not really something I have to deal with. But at least he's tolerant. Go ahead, Blake.
Yeah. I think it's a different culture now than it was 2 years ago or even a year ago. So it's a case-by-case basis. And if you go through all the women's sports, I mean, this where it would really be affected would be like girls basketball or girls volleyball. Well, guess what? There are already men's volleyball teams. You can't, if you're biologically a man, you can't compete in that stuff. So I think, I do think it's just the fact that there's too many other things going on more than anything else. But you got to fight it. I agree. Pipe bombs.
FBI agents arrested 30-year-old
transition.
Brian Cole Jr. in his Woodbridge home yesterday. Authorities say Cole placed 2 pipe bombs outside RNC and DNC headquarters on January 5th. Court records show Cole lived in the home on Manor House Court and worked as a bail bondsman in Northern Virginia. He also graduated from Hilton High School in 2013. The FBI says he purchased the bomb-making materials from stores in Northern Virginia, including Home Depot and Lowe's. Investigators had been trying to find a suspect for years and say they'll continue working to figure out a motive. I'm Rosia Rivera.
Yeah.
And he is having his court case this morning, so he'll show up in court this morning. Cole Jr. will. Texas will be allowed to use a new congressional map in next year's midterm election after a Supreme Court ruling. An emergency application was filed by Governor Abbott with the conservative majority pausing a lower court ruling that said the map was unlawful. Grand jury has decided not to indict New York AG Big Tish James a second time over mortgage fraud claims. Initial charges were thrown out 10 days ago with James previously indicted by a grand jury on one charge of bank fraud and another of making false statements to a financial institution. This is the lady that ran on destroying DJT. All this stuff is so stinking corrupt. Netflix is acquiring Warner Brothers in a massive $82.7 billion deal. The streaming giant announced the deal today, which would be completed by the second half of next year after Warner Brothers Discovery spins off its cable assets like CNN, TNT, and Discovery. All right, the Lions beat the Cowboys 44-30 last night on Thursday Night Football. Jahmyr Gibbs, 3 touchdowns. The Broncos continue to prepare for the Raiders. That's coming up this Sunday. A big game for them if they want to continue fighting and possibly earn that number 1 seed in the AFC. Islanders beat the Avs last night 6-3, and the Nuggets in hot Atlanta tonight 5:30 tip. 27 in Brighton, 24 in Castle Rock, 28 in Denver. You're waking up with Jeff and Billy, and it is Friday. Hallelujah. Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Be on the lookout for some limited visibility in areas of fog to get your day started. After the fog burns off, becoming mostly sunny, highs mid to upper 30s, fair tonight, teens and 20s. Mostly to partly cloudy, upper 30s to near 40 on Friday, near the mid-20s Friday night. Mostly to partly cloudy Saturday. During the course of the day Saturday, there will be a chance of snow showers, as tonight, Friday, and Saturday, there will be snow in Colorado's mountains, with a few snow showers reaching the plains. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
Headlines coming from the Colorado Sun. PUC finalized its plan to push natural gas out of Colorado home heating to hit 100% decarbonization. Xcel and other utilities must make 41% cuts to natural gas heating emissions in 10 years, transition fully by 2050. This article from the Colorado Sun is wildly biased. I mean, there's like no response to this. The Republicans ended up coming out with statements against it, but in this article, you get this dance and celebrating from the Sierra Club. Woohoo! I guess we're not going to heat our house or heat our house via only electricity, which is coal powered, but then they're going to move the coal power to solar or wind. So your wind powered heating in the house. What is going on here? Well, she's running for governor of Colorado. She sits on the powerful Joint Budget Committee. State Senator Barb Kirkmeyer joins us. Good morning, Senator. Thank you for your time.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
All right, you got to explain what happened with this Public Utility Commission plan to push out natural gas.
Well, it's been a long time coming. I mean, it was no surprise that trying to push out natural gas. I mean, there were bills that were passed in 2019 that started this, having to have 100% decarbonization by 2050. And then in 2021, there was more stuff coming online with regard to the Clean Heat Plan, which to me is like the Clean No Heat Plan, I guess. I don't know. But the whole thing is they want to push out natural gas, any fossil fuels, in the state of Colorado, and that we would rely solely on wind and solar energy to get our electricity, to get our power.
And I don't think people really understand the impact that this is having. I know it because I live in Elbert County. So, for instance, they just put in the name, guys, I just want to make everyone clear on this. In the name of clean energy, they are installing 600 acres of solar out in Elbert County. Then they're using eminent domain to claim land to bring in high-density power lines, those really big ones, to bring in all that energy to meet this mandate in Colorado. So in the name of global warming and energy and clean energy, they're building all of this stuff that requires a lot of energy to build, with the hopes that we can live almost entirely off of wind and solar. Is that right?
That's the goal. I mean, to be totally decarbonized, which again, I don't think anyone is against clean air, but this is not necessarily going to do anything more to help us with our clean air. I mean, and looking at, the air quality monitoring that takes place in this state, this is not really what the issue is. It's just a push by environmental groups. And I think, one of the things that's even more concerning is over the course of the last 7 years, with this administration and the Polis administration, he has the appointees to the PUC, the Public Utilities Commission. He gets to make those appointments. And it's supposed to be balanced. It should be a balance between Republican, unaffiliate, and Democrats, right? So here's what happened. A couple of years ago, we appointed, I didn't, but it has to go through the Senate to get confirmed, and it did get confirmed. But the governor appointed a former state representative who was a Democrat who switched his affiliation to unaffiliated. So right now on the Public Utilities Commission, we have two Boulder Democrats, essentially, even though one of them changed their voter registration to be unaffiliated. I mean, for all intents and purposes, former Representative Tom Platt worked in the Ritter administration as the director of the Office of Energy. And then he worked for a environmental group that talked about energy and water, conserving energy and water. And the other member one of the other members on the committee worked at what was prior to it becoming the Western Resource Alliance, I think something in that nature, which is another environmental group that fights climate change. So he's packed the public utility commissions with people who have been working to push out natural gas for years.
That's Senator Barb Kirkmeyer. She's running for the Republican nomination for governor in Colorado as well. We're talking a headline coming out of the Colorado Sun, the Public Utility Commission's finalizing plans to push natural gas out of Colorado home heating to hit 100% decarbonization. Now, one of the arguments that Republicans are making is that in order to hit this, you can't just make changes just to pipelines. You can't do better methane capture, those types of things. You actually have to go to existing homes and seem to make changes there. Talk to us what this is going to mean for homeowners in Colorado when it gets down to brass tacks, our homes. What does this plan out of the PUC mean?
It will mean, and they're going to force people to get rid of all of their natural gas appliances. So you'll have to get heat pumps. You won't be able to have natural gas stoves, anything of that nature. And we'll become solely reliant on what they're calling renewable energy, which is wind and solar, which I think we all understand is not sustainable. And these plans have been tried in other states, and we've seen, the rolling brownouts like in California and on the Eastern Coast and down in Texas during the big, huge windstorm. So it's just going to mean a more increase in cost. They used to say, they meaning the Office of Energy and the environmental groups would say, well, it's more cost effective to go to renewables. That trend is not true. Ever since about 2019, utility prices have gone up on average by about 38%. At least that's when I was doing my research, what I found. So that's not my number. That's other people's numbers that I've read in different research articles. And that's kind of on average. And but we all know our utility bills are going up. So, we have this issue of being one of the least affordable states in the nation. And the thing that, increases our unaffordability is things like water prices, utility prices, sewer prices, those types of things. And here's our Colorado state government making sure that we remain one of the most unaffordable states in the nation, especially when it comes to housing. So people's rates, we all have to pay utility bills. I know mine have gone up substantially, and I think they're just going to keep increasing, and that's what's going to happen. People are just not going to have, the funds to continue to keep paying higher utility costs, which will happen, because not only do they have to change out infrastructure, change out things in their own home, it's all of the other infrastructure costs that the utility companies will have to pay to bring in, like you were talking about, like the pipelines and the switching out that they will have to do, and then just the high cost. And we're losing reliability, and that just doesn't make sense.
That's Barb Kirkmeyer, Colorado State Senator. She's running for governor, talking about how the PUC, Public Utility Company, wants us to go all green renewable energy by 2050, and that will impact the natural gas that comes into your home. They want all of that changed out. Now, Senator Kirkmeyer, we should assume that because it's all renewable and it's the bright glowy thing in the sky, and the wind that goes, especially if you're at Loveland Ski Area, that it's very easy, to generate this type of power. So I'm assuming that also, given that we are going to have to spend money as PUC customers in order to make this change in our house, they are going to offer us some discounts, some subsidies. They're going to cut our bills for a while, understanding, one, because we're no longer having to dig this gas out of the ground and then process it and bring it into the homes, but also that extra impact. So obviously built into this, being a little facetious here, the PUC is going to be giving us discounts, incentives, and our bills are going to be lower. He asks, knowing this is probably wrong, right? That's what's going to happen, right, Barb?
No, I don't see where the PUC
foiled again.
I don't see where the PUC is going to give incentives. I mean, the reality is, like I said, since 2019, when there were bills that were passed in that legislative session, and part of this, I mean, I guess I can't put it all on the governor, but what I can put on the governor is that, the bills were passed, he signs them into law, and then, he cuts deals with the oil and gas industry to say, hey, look, I won't. He'll veto certain bills to try and keep oil and gas in the state of Colorado as long as you pay an additional fee, which is just kind of the hypocrisy is just running rampant there. But he does things like that and then turns around and has his PUC commission, instead of, allowing bills to be passed, more bills to be passed, has the PUC come in and kind of change, move the goalpost, if you will. The laws were passed, like I said, in 19 and 21. I mean, and there's been several laws. It's not like it's just been two. There have been, I think 73 bills that have been passed just in the last 5 or 6 years that are impacting all of this. And so we've seen our rates just keep growing and growing. So when they keep saying, oh, we're going to give incentives, somebody has to pay for the incentives. And right now, I mean, if you're an Excel customer, man, you're paying for a lot of incentives for other people because that's what's going on. And so someone has to pay. And it's going to come down to ratepayers. In this case, it's not taxpayers, it's the ratepayers. It's the people, all of us who pay for our own utility bills. So there'll be incentives, but again, someone has to pay. I mean, if it's tax credits, then yes, it's all of the other taxpayers that are paying for that because it's tax credits. But and then if it's incentives and they tell Excel that they have to put so much money in, which happens, or the other utilities that they have to put so much money into these incentive programs, because we've expanded a lot of programs in this state as well, that goes down to the ratepayers. Eventually, this all gets to the ratepayers, and their whole story about how the ratepayers that we're going to save you money, it's just not true. I mean, just look at your bill. You don't need to go any farther than that. Just look at your own personal bill and see how much it's increased, just even in the last couple of years.
And that's Barb Kirkmeyer, current Colorado State Senator, wants to be our next governor, talking about the increases that are probably going to be seen in your bill by the PUC because they want to make us go all green by 2050, which means eliminating the natural gas in your home. So that's, that's going to be ovens, but most oftentimes furnaces. So that would be a changeover that would be mandated.
Yeah, what about fireplaces? That's a text message. Does that include fireplaces?
Yeah, it would.
Oh,
it includes anything.
Yeah,
anything
at all.
Anything that's powered by natural gas.
Now, we have a little bit of Jeff and Bill show serendipity here, which is absolutely fantastic because Mark Crowley, member of the show behind the scenes, has recently upgraded his furnace. Now, people that know Mark know that he does his due diligence. So he went out there, he got several bids, he talked to people about different systems, and he was talking about going with, the all-natural gas, going with all electricity, and looking at a hybrid system. The people that he talked to a T, said the all-electric systems do not function efficiently when temperatures drop very, very low. When you get near zero, when you get around, 15 degrees, 10, 0, they become inefficient. And these are the furnace guys telling him, and that's why Mark went with a hybrid system. And he said because the system becomes overloaded, and what you end up happening is, one, your electric heater, your electric furnace doesn't necessarily heat the same space as a gas heater does have the power to at that point. But most importantly, your electric heater continues to run and run and run and run and run during those cold times. So when we're in the middle of a January or a February and we go through days where we have really, really cold snaps, we are going to have your electric heater in your home running like 18, 20 hours, in theory, a day. What's that going to do to our bills? Imagine that type of an electricity drain and what that's going to do to your individual bill come the winter months, because that's how the electric furnaces work. That's why he went with a hybrid system. So when it drops below about 30 degrees, the gas kicks in. He's all electric until then, but it's not efficient enough, and it's going to cost him a lot more money to keep his house colder by going with an all-electric system. So again, I want the Jeff and Bill listeners to understand, this is anecdotal information, but from a good guy that did the research just recently. In the last 2 weeks, he put this furnace system into his house. And the people that are professionals told him, you go all electric, you're going to end up paying more and being colder during the time in which you need your heater the most. And then think about what kind of electricity load that puts on the grid. If everybody on your block is running their heater 12 hours a day or more, what does that do to load in the grid?
During peak hours, where it's even more expensive.
Yeah, exactly. Already we're supposed to turn off our dishwashers and not run in the afternoon because of peak hours and crap like that. Yeah, furnaces, what are you going to do? You have to turn your furnace off during the day and hope that your pipes don't freeze? What are you going to do?
I just, guys, like, I look at this and there's so much of just this progressive baloney. Like, here, for instance, here's the Colorado Sun's article about this, okay? The final targets are, quote, a meaningful win for Latino and working class families who deserve clean air, lower energy bills, and healthier homes. Like, what? Like, why is race all of a sudden thrown into this thing? Says Cristo Luna, Deputy Colorado Director for nonprofit advocacy group Mia Familia Vota. He goes on to say the decision moves Colorado closer to an equitable transition away from fossil gas.
Issues. I
Like,
can't figure
what?
out.
Well, I don't know. I understand half the stuff in that sentence. What's an equitable transition away from natural gas?
What I can't figure out is, outside of a regular gas leak in the home, where's the harm based on using a natural gas stove or based on using a natural gas furnace? I understand there are some particulates that get into the air based on natural gas stoves, but the use of those and the percentage of those is dwindling in Colorado, and the market will naturally age them out. That'll happen.
I mean,
but even then,
isn't it like all clean natural gas? Didn't we have those on the buses driving by? This bus runs on clean natural gas.
Yeah, that's the idea, and it was supposed to put less particulates into the air and be better for us than our stinky cars that are just farting stuff out of the back all the time. Yeah, but in this case, it's the worstest of the worst. I don't understand that.
Doesn't make sense, but hey, that's our state government right now.
And I love the fact that they're going to charge us more to gather the energy that's the easiest to gather. I mean, again, there are some complications as far as converting, but it's wind, and it's the big giant glowy thing in the sky that appears like, every 12 hours.
Well, and I want to ask you about this. Barb Kirkmeyer, you're a state senator. You sit on the very powerful Joint Budget Committee. You're running for governor. We have AI coming in. Those data centers need a tremendous amount of energy. You become the governor of Colorado. What becomes your energy agenda?
So, everybody always talks about all of the above. And I think, we want to be able to look at all of the above. But at some point, we really need to be looking at what is the best of the above. And, and that means clean, reliable, sustainable energy that's affordable for people in the state. For goodness sakes, we don't want to go backwards and, have people sitting in the cold and out in the dark all the time. I mean, that's just not good. So I'm for best of the above. I'm in Weld County. I was Weld County Commissioner. We're the #1 energy county in the state. And I'm not just talking with regard to, oil and gas. We probably have more solar fields, more, solar facilities, more wind power than any other county in the state. And we have these very liberal counties that like to talk it and say, we should have all of this renewable energy, and then they don't cite these facilities in their counties. They end up being out in rural counties. So I'm for the best of the above, whether that is fossil fuels, oil and gas, whether it's wind. I mean, if people want to put solar in, put solar in. I mean, I know people who have solar on their farms, and it helps them out, and it's work, and it's helping them keep their prices down, but they could afford to put it in, and, they have a long-range plan to make sure that it pays back for itself. Because if you're putting solar into your house, I mean, just from what I've read and what I know about it, and I'm not the expert, it takes 12 to 15 years to pay it off, kind of thing. So, there's just different things. And I think we need to be looking at what's the best of the above, what works for the people that determines and gives us clean, sustainable, reliable energy that's affordable in our state and quit just raising the cost. I mean, a lot of times these environmental groups come in with their numbers and their propaganda, and it's just really not that accurate. It's just, to me, it ends up being kind of propaganda about how we're trying to do things. Just looking even at the ozone and the gas monitoring in our state and what's going on, they try to claim that it's coming from oil and gas, and that's actually not accurate. I mean, there is some, but we probably have as much ozone coming into our state from China as we do from oil and gas in this state at this point. So, we're going to have to look at it. We have to take a balanced approach. But again, we should be looking at things like the nuclear stuff and I know the data centers are looking at nuclear as well. These small modular nuclear facilities, it used to be, I grew up, by the way, out by Rocky Flats in northern Jefferson County. So I know there's a fear thing that goes on when you talk about nuclear, but the innovations and the technologies that has occurred over the last 10 to 15 years is tremendous, and maybe we should be looking at nuclear power. But I don't think we should be trying to eliminate natural gas out of our system in this state. It just doesn't make sense. And anytime you hear them say that they're going to do incentives and they're going to expand programs and they're going to make it cheaper for you, somebody has to pay for that. Somebody has to pay for it, whether it's a taxpayer or a ratepayer. Somebody is paying for those incentives and for those programs.
That's Barb Kirkmeyer. She's a state senator. She's running for governor. She's fighting these battles. If you want to learn more about her, go to Kirkmeyer for Colorado. I just had it up. I can't find it now.
That's correct. KirkmeyerForColorado.com.
KirkmeyerForColorado.com. I mean, I look at these articles, particularly this one from The Sun, and the only people celebrating what happened at the PUC is the Sierra Club. Goodness gracious, they're just a bunch of lib nitwits. Or this person that's making an argument that apparently getting off of fossil fuels is more equitable. If you like your natural gas fireplace, you're a racist? Who knows? But it's just libs out there celebrating this. Barb Kirkmeyer trying to bring some sanity, goodness, back to this state. We sure appreciate your time this morning. Thank you, Senator.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much, and keep up the good fight, guys. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Barb Kirkmeyer. Kirkmeyer for Colorado, if you want to learn more about her. All right, let's talk the gun room, folks. It's Christmas time, holiday season. One of the best things you can do out there, especially ladies looking for that gift for the man in your life, the huntsman, sportsman in your life, go to the gun room, denvergunroom.com, and get a gift certificate. They have such cool variety of weapons there, including, I saw this the other day, dueling pistols from the 1700s. Bill, I don't think that would be a good addition to the Jeff and Bill show.
No, not at all.
This is a dueling pistol free zone.
The only ones that would be safe for us is if they were Nerf. If they were Nerf, we'd be shooting each other every day.
That's right.
Yeah. My glass would be filled with darts. Jeff would be shooting at me during the show. Yes.
I find those years after our kids no longer play with them. I find Nerf darts in the most random spots.
Yeah, exactly.
They were everywhere in our house at one point.
Everywhere. Yeah, you like clean out the couch, and all of a sudden you're like, they're the darts. There they are. Yes.
Darts, yeah. Right. Cleaning out a chandelier. Oh,
yes.
Hey, there's more darts up here. All right, the gun room is not just another shop. These guys know their stuff. They're friendly. They're patient, and they've helped me more than once when I walked in saying, okay, just point me in the right direction. And whether you're a Sears collector or someone who hasn't picked up a firearm since Uncle Bob's backyard in '98, they'll make you feel welcome. And ladies, trust me, that gunroom gift card is a real winner. You'll thank me later. Guys, go in there and treat yourself. It's the holidays. You've earned it. They'll buy guns from you as well. So if you have maybe a family member that's moved on to glory, you got a gun collection, they'll buy it, take care of all of it. You just get the cash. Find them in Lakewood or online at denvergunroom.com, denvergunroom.com, 303-237-1300. 303-237-1300. Tell them Jeff sent you, and go start up a new hobby with the folks over at denvergunroom.com, denvergunroom.com. Bill, I need to have a conversation with you about your racist gas fireplace. My little heater in here is electric in the studio.
It is. Yeah.
So I am more equitable.
I don't have a gas fireplace.
No, but if in your house you do,
yeah, I know.
We need to have an intervention. But I am very equitable with my electric space heater.
Weirdly enough, we have an electric one, but it's not a real fireplace.
Way to be so Woke and equitable,
Actually,
Bill.
Not at all. Actually, it's completely and totally for the visual. It completely. It just has to do with the fact that the giant screen that's in the main living room. We just kind of put it down below a little bit, and it's electric there, just so we could see the image of the flames. At nights and again in the weekends. We don't use it at heater at all. Possibly because maybe somebody that installed it, which would that'd be me, this guy right here, maybe didn't really do the right clearance between the furnace and the TV, meaning that if we turn it on, it gets the bottom of the TV very hot. I liked the spacing visually. I was not concerned about the safety between the heat element and the fireplace looky thing in the TV. So I just wanted it to look nice. So I put it a little too close.
Wait, and it worked, and you're now woke.
Yeah,
good job. And so
it's pretty,
so progressive.
Makes pretty lights and looks good. Looks like a nice fake fire, but no heat at all. No heat at all. Thanks to bad
You're
planning
next
on my
level,
part.
because that's where they all want us eventually. Just no heat at all.
Yeah, it's just very cold.
Just all cold all the time, but at least the Sierra Club. This article drove me crazy. I had a hard time not reaching through my computer screen. This little Sierra Club nitwit. We're excited to see Colorado continue committing to some of the strongest gas utility decarbonization goals in the nation. Sarah Tresidder is her name. Guarantee you that oil and gas is keeping her warm this morning. And then the whole racist thing is so stupid to me. You want to see angry text messages? Look at the text message line right now with regards to what people are already paying with their utilities, knowing that they've now got to pay to retrofit their natural gas house to fit these new stupid mandates. Give us a call. Join the conversation. 303-696-1971. Or text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line at 720-819-5115. And to all of you stupid racists out there with your natural gas fireplace, get it together, people, and get more equitable transition away from fossil gas. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.
if you really want to be tolerant, you want to be woke, you want to be the ultimate progressive in the state of Colorado, you must live in a house shivering cold with no heat from fossil fuels, because that's what's going to happen. The PUC finalizing a plan to push natural gas out of Colorado home heating. They want it 100% out by 2050. Means you're going to need to retrofit your home. If you have a water heater, furnace, or gas fireplace, and then they'll bring in electricity, build 600 acres of solar like they're doing out in Elbert County, then big power lines to bring that all in, then the snow and the wind will come and you won't have the ability to heat your house, but at least you'll feel good about being equitable. That's what at least the Mia Familia Voda is saying in this article in the Colorado Sun, that to be genuinely equitable, you need to move away from fossil fuels. Let's go to the phone lines. Pete, Centennial. Good morning, Pete. You're on with Jeff and Bill.
Morning.
Hey, good morning, gentlemen. Boy, I'm an old hippie. I have such a long view of all of this. You can probably blame people like me because I was out protesting against Fort St. Vrain. So one of the reasons we don't have nuclear here, and you wouldn't find a person who is more dedicated to the creation of solar mandates. And I voted for Jimmy Carter and getting Siri up there and, all of that. But, then I got educated on energy, and I don't believe any of that crap anymore.
Why not? What changed?
Tell us why.
Yeah. What was the journey? What was the path?
Well, I think, we put solar on our home finally, because I'll tell you what, going through the getting the proper solar panels is, the industry is atrocious. And we got panels up here, but the worst thing about solar is the panels really aren't worth a lot unless you have a backup. You need to be able to store that energy. Well, we didn't have the money to buy the backup. So the first year I had the solar out there, I was climbing up on the roof with a giant squeegee, cleaning off the snow so that the solar would work. And then I was thanking God for my gas stove that we have in an auxiliary room here, because we would have froze our asses off if we didn't have that gas stove.
Yep. And I mean, there are times where I just go, I think at the end of the day, these leftists, these radical leftists, want us eating crickets, living in a house that's not heated, with no children, and just huddling as we prepare to die. And I get, Pete, where this all had come from, because I remember growing up in the 90s, and there was this like motivation that we were going to become this great enlightened society and move off of these dirty, nasty fossil fuels, and how wonderful we are. And it was a lot of virtue signaling without a real sense of reality. And Bjorn Lomborg has pointed this out. Like, there's a reason why big developing countries aren't signing on to these climate accords, because they understand that the easiest and fastest way to get people out of poverty is with cheap fossil fuels.
Well, you can say that energy is liberty. And you look at the most oppressed countries, and they're the ones that are struggling with having the capacity to, give the energy necessary for the development of just regular civilization within their society. But my biggest concern, though, is that, with the PUC, I dealt with the PUC throughout the whole installation of our solar, and I could not believe the ideology of the PUC. And then and they were hand in glove with Excel, and then I was thinking, why did Colorado ever give up the public service and turn it over to this Minneapolis corporation that regionally dictates to us? And the whole thing is a political mess. And Jared Polis, who's just a love child of 60s radicals who love the wealth of Colorado and who's a billionaire. And Colorado was built on energy. Colorado was built on mining. Yeah, there's a lot of problems with it, and fracking had a lot of problems, and they had to clean up fracking. But, we got rid of the brown cloud by converting all of our plants to natural gas.
Yep.
And now we're getting rid of natural gas? Are you kidding me?
Pete, here's a text message that I think it sums it up right now real well. That dude on your radio show right now is a breath of fresh air. Well done, Pete. Sure appreciate the call. That's Pete from Centennial.
Thanks, Pete.
Join the conversation, 303-696-1971. Are you ready to get rid of natural gas out of your home? Is this an important step forward in the development of this state? Or is this just politics and stupid libs with their crazy environmental ideas forcing it on the rest of us? 303-696-1971. Text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line at 720-819-5115. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710, KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. You got a gas fireplace, gas furnace, gas water heater in your house. It's got to go. By 2050, the Public Utilities Commission wants natural gas out of Colorado.
And don't forget, Jeff, you got to pay for it.
Yeah,
they're
that's
not helping
exactly
out
right.
at all.
Yeah.
So they're telling you have to make this replacement, and you have to find the money. Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun.
And not just new homes. These are the existing ones.
The one you're in right now. We should have asked Barb Kirkmeyer about exemptions for historical houses. There was a text message about that, and I apologize, I missed that. But I'd be curious to see about that, if they would provide exemptions. But again, then, what qualifies as historical? They're not going to go 25 years. You're going to have to go way further back, because they're going to want all of you to convert. And they're going to make the argument that those old historic houses are the most dangerous because they have the oldest piping and the oldest systems.
Yeah, right.
So,
with the most leaks.
Exactly.
Let's go to Dave in Littleton. Good morning, Dave. You're on with Jeff and Bill.
Morning.
Thank you, guys. I've seen oil companies sued by consumers, et cetera, for their part in the global warming, but public service, and I'm sure Xcel, encouraged us and gave incentives for us to switch or to maintain natural gas. What's their responsibility in this? And one other thing, in 60 years as paying my utility bills, I've had one natural gas interruption and literally hundreds, if not thousands, of electric interruptions. So what does this do for me?
Yeah, what does it do? And what does it do to the electrical grid, the load that we're talking about? I'm not just talking AI, but, Dave, think about how every single house in your neighborhood is going to be pulling on that electrical grid during the coldest times of the year, when you need it the most. We've heard from Xcel Energy and other energy companies around the country about the load that happens when air conditioners are running during the hottest days of the summer. We in Colorado are just going to be flipping that. We don't get to those super hot days. We have really cold days. So we are going to experience it on the other end. But rather than sweating in all places that we shouldn't be moist, we're going to be freezing. We're going to be putting on 4 jackets and sitting around hoping that some sort of candle inside the house provides a little bit more warmth. That electrical grid, they're going to start rolling brownouts. They're not going to have the ability to have everybody on an electrical furnace that's going to take the load for that furnace to be running the entire time on those cold snaps. You and I and Jeff and everybody else in the audience are going to suffer. This is stupid.
Doug bringing up a good point here. What's going to happen if we try to sell your home? Now, is this going to be part of the negotiated sale of your house?
Oh, Doug, stop hurting my head. Man, what do you think about that, Dave?
Well, every time they do something to enhance the consumer's life, it costs the consumer money.
Especially when it comes from the government.
That is the best quote of the morning, Dave. You win. You win Friday, man. Nicely
Dave,
done. Have a
great
great weekend.
job. That's Dave
That was
from
great.
Littleton. Phone line's full on this one. You can jump in real quick, 303-696-1971. We'll continue the conversation. Plus, Aaron Lee joining us next hour. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
Dave wins Friday. We'll be